Hey, it's Dave. Welcome back to my channel. So last night I went live with my acoustic band, and the bandwidth really takes a lot of the sound away, and it really makes it sound not good. So next week, next Thursday, same place, same bat time, I'm going to record the show, and then I'll post it on Friday, edit it down with the breaks, the breaks in between taken out. And with the sound should be a lot better because it's going to be recorded in OBS on my laptop. But I want to thank everybody who watched the show and had nice things to say. But it's clearly not an indication of what it sounds like when you're there, because it's really like a lush sound. And on the live video, it just didn't seem to capture that. So we'll try it again, but I'll keep it up for those that want to watch that. And, lately I've been going on a couple of rants about people not learning songs. And, it's funny. I'm not so much, like some people don't feel like when they play in covers that they need to play something exact, or they need to, they want to put their own spin on things. And, I get that. It's like because they don't really have a creative outlet. But there are certain elements in songs that you really need to put in and listen to and incorporate into the song because it's the main part of the song. There's a lot of songs you can listen to, and it's like there's room for being able to do it your own thing, especially when you're playing in your own band. If you have an original band and you have a way you're going to do a cover song, that is your way of doing that song. You don't have to even do it anything like the original, nor do you even have to you can write your own parts and do whatever, because you're an original band and you're playing a song as if you guys wrote it. And that's a real cool thing. I mean, you can hear that in a lot of bands. But the thing is, if you're a cover band and you're out there doing it, people kind of want to hear the song. They don't really care to hear Joe Blow, the guitar player, being creative. They don't give a shit. They don't want to, if you're playing Sweet Home Alabama, they want to hear that solo that's in that song. They don't want to hear your version of it. Now, most of the audiences that go to see live bands are not as critical as us guitar players. And that's fine. They don't know why they don't like something, but they'll tell you. They'll see two bands, one that does it note for note and the other one that doesn't. And the one that doesn't, they're going to be like, yeah, I don't know what it is I didn't like about this, but I like this. Like they can't differentiate what it is that they're doing that's not, they don't know that one's exactly like the record. Now, I can't say that not everyone, some will know, but some will just be like, yeah, I like that. And there's a reason. There's, in his case of Sweet Home Alabama, Al Cooper produced it. So there's production that goes into it. Ed King, who wrote the song, dreamt of the solo to go with the song. And that's been a staple of the song for years. So it's like you have like the best players that could be possibly playing it, and somehow you're going to a gig and you're like, I can do this better. Just do it the way they did it. That's what people want to hear. That's when you're playing in a cover band. If you don't believe me, that's fine. You can have your own opinion. But I've proved it with the guys who I play with, because we go out and do everything note for note. And the reaction from it, they're like, oh, yeah. The reaction is very much positive. Some people will come up and be like, do you know that you're playing that note for note? I'm like, no, I must be doing it by accident. I mean, of course I know I'm doing it note for note. I've worked hard to learn the damn solo to the 30 songs that we're playing tonight. Every little nuance I have to learn. Yes, I realize that we're playing, but they do. I'm not even kidding. People will come up and be like, do you know you're playing that note for note? I'm like, oh, heavens no. Yeah, of course. It's absurd. But it's true. These things have happened. People have come up to us. Also, we try to pick songs that are not the most overplayed or boring songs. Now, anyone that watched my live show last night, there was a woman that wanted to hear Brown Eyed Girl. We won't play it. It's like, everybody does it. We could have played it. We both know how to play it, Jim and I. But it's just like, why bother? Its song sucks. It's not going to make everybody there go, oh yeah, this is cool. Here's a band playing Brown Eyed Girl. In fact, it would have the opposite. And the reason, just so you know why I say no, I'm always playing for myself. Not myself, the guitar player in the band, myself, the patron, who possibly would be sitting at the bar. If I were in a bar and I'm sitting there and I hear two guys and they break into Brown Eyed Girl, I'm going, check please. I don't want to stick around because then I know I'm in for a night of horror. I'm in for like every song that I hate and that's overplayed by every asshole. That's what I'm going to be stuck listening to. So I'd be out. So therefore, when somebody requests a song that turns my stomach in that respect, I say no, I'm not going to do it. And we don't. And that's the cool thing that playing with Jim, because Jim's kind of like, yeah. Although Jim has a couple that I don't like that he wants to do, but they're not so overplayed and we do them well. And in the same respect, he does a few for me that I like that he either doesn't know well enough or just never struck him, but at least they're not overplayed. So in that respect, it's very cool. But yeah. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that. You know, if you're playing a band and you're working on some songs, try to think a little outside of the box. It's always really nice for somebody to go and see a band and have curveballs thrown. Now, not every song has to be a curveball. Sometimes you got to throw the fastballs down the pipe. You know what I mean? It's like, so like in FM station, we'll do like You Shook Me All Night Long because, well, Jim sings it really well, but we also, it's an easy home run. You get the bases loaded, you're going to throw that thing up. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why I'm doing all these baseball analogies. They just, but here I am. But anyways, we have those types like we'll throw in the Angels, No Secrets, the John Hall Band, Crazy, and people will be like, oh, I haven't heard that. And then Aaliyah by Donny Iris. And then we go hammering with like One of These Nights, which isn't a song that every band plays, but it's definitely a much more well-known song. Or the Cars, It's All I Can Do. And then we'll hit it with something else that's real popular, like Let's Go by the Cars. So there is an awareness of playing the give-me's, you know, like, but they're not so overplayed, and then also reaching for that curveball of like, here's a song you haven't heard in a while. We love this song. For instance, I want to do an FM station. We still have some new songs to add, and I want to add Nicole by Point Blank. One-hit wonder out of Texas. Great song from like 1981. If you don't know it, look it up. It's by Point Blank called Nicole. Just a classic rock song. Was a big hit in the Boston area around the time like 81 when it came out. That and Rock and Roll Party in the Streets by Axe was another great song. So it's interesting to throw in the songs that people aren't really that aware of or have forgotten, because you make people nostalgic. You know, it's hard to get nostalgic to hear on songs you've heard every day since they've come out. So in other words, if you were to listen to like, and I'll bring up The Who, because on LA radio, they only play 3 songs by The Who for the longest time. I've been out of LA for 5 years, but I definitely think that it's probably still the same, but it used to hear like Behind Blue Eyes every other day. Now, if I play you Behind Blue Eyes or you hear it on the radio, you're not thinking anything because there's nothing to stir up. You've heard it last week. You heard it 3 weeks ago. You heard it last year. You heard it 15 times 2 years earlier. So if you're to play in a band and you're to play that song, yeah, you might think it's a nice song. I don't really care for it, but you're not stirring up any ghosts. Now, if you were to play a song by The Who like Slip Kid, or something you don't hear that often, when you hear it, you're going to be like, oh my God, that brings me back to like, I remember that in high school when I was a freshman, and boom. And now you've done something for the audience where that's like, that even the biggest hits can't do. It's like you brought them to some place and you've taken them somewhere. And that is a real value when you're going to go see a band. You know, it's funny. a lot of people talk about the death of the music industry, and it's pretty much dying. But why is it dying? Why are stores being closed? Why are big chain stores being closed? The answer is almost the same. It's because somebody thinks they know better than you, and they're delivering or administering their knowledge and enforcing it on you. And that's really, Frank Zappa had a thing back in the 70s, I think it was, or the 80s, where he talked about how the big old record execs with the cigars who didn't know anything about music were willing to give anything a chance. And then when you got the young guys in to run the record companies, they knew what people liked. And they were like, this is what they're going to like. And everything became way more like fitting a mold. And nothing was really that creative anymore. And there wasn't like a lot of difference in bands. It's like, and you can look at like when Pearl Jam came out and the whole grunge scene came out, every grunge band kind of sounded the same. And, it's like Stone Temple Pilots then were sounding like Alice in Chains. And then they were sounding like this and that song. So many bands took on, they fit into this mold. Same with kind of like how stores are. If you go to Guitar Center, you go in there, and I walk in there, and I couldn't buy anything off the wall. I find the place to have, it's just completely what I consider pedestrian for my taste. Now, there's a store in, I believe it's Lexington, called the Music Emporium. And if you're into acoustic guitars and you're in the New England area, it's worth the drive. Go to the Music Emporium. It's fantastic. They have Callings, they have Santa Cruz, they have some beautiful Gibsons, they have beautiful Taylors. It's a much better selection of acoustic guitars than you're ever going to see at Guitar Center. The same if you're in like the Los Angeles area and you go into McCabe's. McCabe's has a gorgeous acoustic guitar selection, as does Westwood Music with the McPhersons they have. There's some beautiful stuff there that you're not going to get into like a Guitar Center. And then the problem with Guitar Center is, so what they're doing is they're basically focusing on a beginner type guitar player, a low-end buyer. They have higher end stuff, but that's not their focus. So when you go there, you're looking at a very shallow selection of that, which is why everybody loves ordering online as well. And that's why online is so great, because online it's like, Sweetwater puts out this big catalog, which is like genius if you think about it. Because when you think about like the old Sears catalog was great because Sears catalog got you excited as a kid. I want to look at the, when your mom got the winter collection and it was like, let me look, I want to see what toys are in here. And you would see guitars, the Dan Electros, and you would see everything, and you'd make a Christmas list basically just looking through the Sears catalog. Your mom would shop through the Sears catalog. The catalog thing got people excited. And Sweetwater realizes this and has an online where they have way more that's online that's in the catalog, but the catalog is like the teasing summation of everything. It's like, let's take a look, we have these Gibsons, then you go on their site and they have far more stuff. But they understand, when they send you that little microcosm of what they carry, that's going to your home. You're not leaving the house. When you go to Guitar Center, the microcosm of what they carry is what they carry. And then they'll tell you, oh, we can order that for you. Oh, can you? Thanks. Or I could just have ordered it from Sweetwater and had it delivered at my house without having to have a conversation with this guy. It's like I went in there once and I was like, I'm looking for do you guys have a case for a bass 6? And he shows me like a full-size bass case. I'm like, do you know what a bass 6 is? He goes, yeah, 6-string bass. I go, a Fender bass 6? He goes, a Fender 6-string bass? I'm like, just get me out of the store. It's frightening. And this is kind of why, the industry and stores the mom and pops, I think, are actually doing better than the Guitar Centers, because the Guitar Center has, the mom and pops have to listen to the community and what they want to carry. A great shop also in Massachusetts. You can go to Matt's Music or you can go to South Shore Music, and both have people that listen and talk to you and understand that it's a customer-driven business. That's what you need. You should be listening and having that interaction. The guitar centers are run by guys who are in Agora Hills, California, and they're saying this is what we have in our mix. So this is going to work in Braintree, Mass. This is going to work in West Los Angeles. You know, giving it take a couple of tweaks, but they never get it right. And it's terrible. It's just a terrible store. And I'm sorry. That's just the case. So, that being said, you know, if you wanted like something, like if you're looking for vintage, because vintage is a big market, and Guitar Center tries to corner that market, but they can't do it like Norman's Rare Guitars. Norman's does a great job. In fact, I just saw on my Instagram Mark Ignizi got a job working for Gibson. I guess he's leaving Norman's. I just want to say congrats to Mark. Mark and I used to work together. Mark's a great guy. Congrats on that, Mark. And I'll be following you, seeing what's going on with that. That sounds like an interesting journey for him. Mark, I believe, used to travel back and forth to Nashville. He played in a country band for a while when he was working at West LA, so that's very cool. So anyway, my point is, basically, with getting back to the bands, is the reason why music is dying is because people have now made this a small little box of what music is, rock and roll. They don't really see people making any money in. Nobody's developing any artists. And it's basically like, take what we're selling you, and nobody wants to buy. And that's basically what's happening. The whole thing is basically think outside the box. Come up with some songs. Don't be lazy. Figure out songs. Figure out the parts. Make it sound good. And because you really can't go out there and be lazy and then sit there and say, well, people don't want to pay bands anymore. It's like nobody's doing the work. And in my band, we do the work, and we go and we play, we fill the place. And then they're all shy about like, well, we'd love to pay you more for the next time. But, you know, we just want to hold off because, you know, and they're paying people half of what they pay us to other bands. And they're not bringing anybody in there. And it's like this, if people took the pride in it and what they did and really went out there and learned the songs and just took pride in their sound instead of just phoning it in, then you can sit there and say, hey, listen, you guys should be asking for more money. But it's like I hear a lot of bands complaining like, oh, I'm making the same money I made in 1980. It's like, yeah, in the 80s, you were young and you were working hard trying to figure out tunes and getting your band. And today, it's like I've seen your band and I don't want to see them again. And the place doesn't want you. It's just a tough thing. Anyways, my point is think outside the box, work hard, practice. You know, YouTube is out there and you can go to my channel and watch any of the stuff on Theory. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can feel free to reach out to me. I've tried and been open to everybody. I appreciate the people that enjoy my rants and raves. And on that note, very good.